Have you ever felt like reality is slipping away? Like the person you used to be is dissolving and nothing makes sense anymore? One moment, you feel a deep sense of peace, as if you've touched something beyond this world. The next, you're overwhelmed with confusion, questioning whether you're waking up to a greater truth or just losing your mind. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people who go through a spiritual awakening experience this paradox. It's a journey that shakes the very foundation of your identity, and in the process, it can feel like everything is falling apart. But here's the key. Awakening isn't about going crazy. It's about seeing through the illusions that have controlled you for so long. It's the realization that the world isn't what you thought it was, and neither are you. However, because the mind fears the unknown, awakening can sometimes mimic the symptoms of a mental breakdown. So, how do you know the difference? That's exactly what we're going to explore. By the end of this video, you'll understand whether you're truly awakening or just experiencing psychological distress. More importantly, you'll learn how to navigate this journey without losing yourself in fear. Although spiritual awakening can mimic the symptoms of a psychological breakdown, such as feeling disconnected, experiencing intense emotions, or questioning reality, there's one key difference. If you go to a doctor, they may tell you that you are perfectly healthy. That's because awakening is not a diagnosable condition. It's a shift in consciousness, not a medical disorder. However, if you suspect that what you're experiencing is not awakening, but a genuine psychological breakdown, it's important to seek professional help. A doctor or therapist can help you determine whether your experience is part of a spiritual transformation or if you need medical support. Spiritual awakening is not about gaining new beliefs. It's about losing the false ones. It's the process of stripping away the layers of conditioning that have kept you trapped in an illusion. The illusion that you are just a separate individual, isolated in a chaotic world. The illusion that happiness can only be found in external things: money, relationships, status. The illusion that life is a struggle, and you must constantly fight to survive. Awakening is what happens when these illusions collapse and you begin to see reality as it truly is. At first, it might come as a sudden realization, a deep knowing that there is more to existence than what your senses perceive. Some people experience it through meditation, near-death experiences, or deep moments of suffering. Others feel it creep in slowly, like a quiet whisper in the back of their mind. No matter how it happens, one thing is clear. The way you see the world starts to change. You begin to feel a deep sense of connection with everything. You may even lose interest in the things that once seemed important: material success, social validation, or even personal identity itself. But here's where things get tricky. When the mind is no longer in control, it panics. It starts throwing doubts, fears, and even hallucinations into the mix. This is why many people mistake awakening for insanity. The ego, the false sense of self, doesn't want to disappear. It will fight to survive, even if it means making you believe you're losing your mind. A true psychological breakdown, on the other hand, is different. It's not just a loss of belief systems, it's a loss of stability. When someone is going through a mental health crisis, they feel lost, disconnected, and unable to function in the world. Instead of experiencing deep clarity, they experience extreme confusion. Instead of feeling a sense of peace beyond the chaos, they feel trapped in overwhelming fear. Losing your mind feels like being at war with yourself. Thoughts spiral out of control, and emotions become unbearable. The world no longer feels real, but not in the liberating way of awakening. Instead, it feels hostile and unsafe. There is no trust in life, only paranoia. Unlike awakening, which leads to greater understanding, a psychological breakdown leads to more fragmentation. The mind doesn't dissolve peacefully, it shatters violently. So how do you know which one you're experiencing? Here's a simple distinction. Awakening leads to more clarity, even if it's uncomfortable. A mental breakdown leads to more confusion and suffering. Awakening feels like shedding an old skin, while a breakdown feels like being torn apart. It's completely normal to feel like you're losing your mind during an awakening. Why? Because in a way, you are, but not in the way you think. You're not losing your true self. You're losing the false self. And when that happens, everything you thought was you begins to dissolve. At first, this can feel terrifying. You might start questioning everything, your beliefs, your memories, even your own identity. Thoughts may become louder than ever, as if your mind is resisting the process. Some people experience what's called the dark night of the soul, a phase where everything feels meaningless, empty, and painful. This is because the ego is dying, and it doesn't go down without a fight. Society makes this even more confusing. Most people are deeply identified with their egos, so when they see someone breaking free from that illusion, they assume something is wrong. Many spiritual masters, from Jesus to Buddha to Eckhart Tolle, were seen as crazy at first. Why? Because they no longer played by society's rules. They were no longer trapped in fear, competition, or suffering. But to the average person, such freedom looks strange, because they can't imagine a life beyond the mind. If you're wondering whether you're awakening or just breaking down, here's what you need to know. Awakening, even when painful, brings a deeper sense of truth. You may feel lost at times, but there is an underlying knowing that everything is happening as it should. There is trust in the process, even when it's difficult. In contrast, a mental breakdown is full of resistance. There is no trust, only fear. Instead of feeling connected to something greater, you feel completely cut off. Another key difference is functionality. If you're awakening, you may feel detached from certain aspects of life, but you can still function. You can still eat, sleep, and take care of yourself, even if your priorities are shifting. In a psychological breakdown, however, basic functioning becomes impossible. If you're unable to take care of yourself, seek professional help. It doesn't mean you're failing spiritually, just that your nervous system needs support. So, if you're awakening, what can you do to make this process smoother? First, stop resisting. The more you fight it, the more painful it becomes. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means allowing the process to unfold naturally. Meditation and mindfulness help ground you, reminding you that you are not your thoughts. If you feel overwhelmed, spend time in nature, focus on your breath, and engage in simple activities that bring you back to the present moment. You don't have to isolate yourself. Awakening doesn't mean rejecting the world. It means seeing it more clearly. Find people who understand what you're going through, whether through spiritual communities or trusted friends. And most importantly, don't take the process too seriously. Awakening doesn't mean you have to be perfect or enlightened overnight. Even great spiritual teachers went through struggles. The key is to relax into it. So, are you awakening or just losing your mind? If you've made it this far, chances are you're waking up. The fact that you're questioning reality means you're already seeing beyond the illusion. Yes, it can feel intense. Yes, it can feel like madness. But the truth is, the only thing that's going crazy is the ego. The part of you that was never real in the first place. Awakening isn't about escaping life. It's about embracing it fully, without the filters of fear and conditioning. So trust the process. You're not losing yourself. You're finding who you truly are. And in that discovery, you'll realize the mind was never who you were to begin with. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more content on awakening and spirituality. See you in the next one.